for head and neck. I don't have anything back on either one of them yet, but bonuses went to the Hawaiian Hitman, Zakir, Wolverine, and then tonight's crypto performance bonus winner is Luke Simmons. He gets $10,000 in crypto. Doesn't suck getting crypto right now. Good for him. Congrats. So before we get started here, let me get some fucking dumb shit out of the way first here. I'm out here, have fun doing Power Slap tonight. And I'm sure you guys heard what Bryce Mitchell said. If you haven't, he said some probably, I've heard a lot of dumb, ignorant shit in my day, but this one's probably the worst. When you talk about Hitler, he was responsible for the death of 6 million Jews, and he tried to completely eliminate a race of people. World War II was the deadliest war in history. 15 million military deaths, 45 million civilians, and 25 million soldiers were killed in World War II. Second of all, Hitler is one of the most disgusting and evil human beings to ever walk the face of the earth, and anyone that even tries to take an opposing position is a moron. That's the problem with the internet and social media. You provide a platform for a lot of dumb, ignorant people. We've obviously reached out to Bryce, and when we read what he said and let him know how we feel about it, we're beyond disgusted. So, for those of you that don't know what's going on, good, you're lucky. For those of you that do, that's what I have to say about it. Who's got the first question?
Hey, Dana.
Hey.
It's obviously not a fun topic to talk about the Bryce stuff. I think that's a great statement that you just gave. Does Bryce Mitchell face a punishment from the UFC for saying
That's what everybody wants to hear about punishments. Free speech. I don't have to love it. You don't have to love it. You know.
I agree with that, the free speech sentiment. Is there a concern, though, right, if he goes out and wins a fight and gets a mic?
Well, that's the beautiful thing about this business. For all of you that hate Bryce Mitchell, you get to see him hopefully get his ass whooped on global television. I mean, what do you want me to say about it? You know where I am with free speech? We're disgusted by it. I think he's probably one of the dumbest, literally one of the dumbest human beings. Let's not forget that this is a guy who took a drill through his nutsack, then had to reverse it and put the drill back out of his. That's the level of stupid that we're talking about here. And I could probably go on for 10 minutes talking about how dumb Bryce Mitchell is. But guess what? Bryce Mitchell has a podcast.
I believe this was episode 1.
What a way to start. But that's the world that we live in now. Dumb people who are really stupid and really ignorant can have a voice. We don't have to agree with it. We don't have to like it. I'm giving you mine and the UFC's position on what he had to say. You know, and this is no different than things that I've said about Strickland, you know. But I will say this. Out of all the dumb, ignorant shit I've heard in my life, this has to be the dumbest and most ignorant.
Last thing from me on this. When you spoke to Bryce about it and said, this is disgusting, did he have any sort of like, oh, I was just talking, or did he walk it back at all?
His thing was, I'm sorry if I put you guys in any position, and, you know.
But not sorry for saying.
He's stupid. He's dumb. You can't fix dumb people. You know what I mean? When you have somebody that's really, really stupid, and that's who we're talking about here, what do you do? How do you talk sense to a dummy? You don't.
Well, we'll move on to tonight. I think the last time Dumpling and the Crazy Hawaiian fought each other, it wasn't a great event, right? There's a few draws that night and stuff like this. I would say that tonight, if you were going to show anyone a Power Slap event, you could just show them this, and they would get the whole sport pretty quickly.
Yeah, tonight was great. I mean, the prelims were off the charts. The early prelims that we do when nobody's in the crowd, you guys weren't here for those. They were incredible. They were unbelievable fights, so that was a winner. Then the prelims of tonight were great, and then the main card. Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Would you like to specifically shout out Rhodes? I feel like the toughness he showed getting up again and again.
What's the question?
Would you like to shout out Brandon Rhodes? He lost the slaps, but he kept getting up. I saw you get up on the platform and spoke to him.
100%. I walked over and told him, we're paying you to win money. You are an absolute badass, tons of heart, and much respect to you.
What was His Excellency's opinion of Power Slap tonight?
What was the what?
What was His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh's opinion?
I haven't talked to him about it yet. This thing aired on television all over the Middle East and in other parts of the world, including being on Rumble. So, I don't know. I'll talk to him tomorrow.
I feel like this sport obviously started and grew from social media. But tonight, I've been to a couple of the live events, but tonight the crowd was probably the loudest I'd ever heard. Do you feel now like the social media has done its bit, and the way to grow this sport even more is to get more live events and show people at home going to this is as fun as watching it?
The last event at the Fountain Blue was pretty insane. It was insane. It was the one that Dumpling fought in too. Yeah, what I do like is when you go on the road, people who've never seen it live before, and you get the reaction that you got tonight from the crowd. Yeah, that's how this works, though. You know what I mean? You start with airing it and letting people see it, and then as you take your live event, I'm so confident in this live event. It's just like the UFC when you walk out of one of these live events. It's like, gotta admit, that was a fun night.
Thanks, Dan.
Dana,
Go ahead, sir. Who's next? Go ahead.
how do you turn these guys into mainstream stars? They all often get millions of views on TikTok and social media anyway, but how do you kind of get that crossover audience for stars like Dumpling and the female fighters that were fantastic tonight as well?
How do we get the crossover?
Yeah, how do you get them to be mainstream stars as opposed to fans who just see the clips on social media?
When you think about this thing is 2 years old, right? And when you look at the UFC and think about how long it took us to build, we're way ahead of where we were 2 years in with the UFC. These things take time. And, I think that we've done a great job of moving around as fast as we have. If you think of all the shows we've done in just 2 years. When we started the UFC, we were only doing 5 events a year. This was, we're going in 2 years, we're going on our 12th event here.
After some of the guys were getting slapped, they were trash talking each other right to their face within seconds. That doesn't happen in any other combat sport, which was intriguing. It was exciting to see. Is it difficult to find those characters? I felt like it was a lot more entertaining seeing that kind of action entertainment during the night.
Well, it's a great point. As it starts to get bigger, and more importantly, as more money starts to get involved, you start to get a different level of athletes, more people that want to do it. Tonight was your first night, right, live? What'd you think live?
Yeah, it was great. I was going to say I went in there to see 1 or 2 fights, and I came out after about 4 or 5. It's quite gripping. Do you notice that when people start watching Power Slap, they have a certain opinion, then when they come to an event, it changes?
100%. It's hard to wrap your head around and think about it, but in the early days of the UFC, everybody used to say, this is disgusting, this isn't a real sport, boxing is real, this isn't, blah, blah, blah. We heard all that stuff. And then this is new and it's different, and you see it on social media, but then when you go live, it's a totally different experience live. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Dana here.
Yay.
First, congratulations for the great event.
Thank you.
I've been watching Vasily Dumpling for years, and I think he started the sport.
I agree.
Now he became the champion.
He definitely started the sport. I mean, he's the guy that got me into it.
Now he became the champion. So what do you think is next for him? Will he retire as a champion or defend the title?
Yeah, now he'll defend the title. But I agree with you to expand on that a little more. In probably, I don't know, it was 2017 or 18, I started seeing this on social media. And Dumpling was the guy I originally saw. And I was into it. It wasn't like, at first when you see it, you're like, holy shit, what is this? But then as I wanted to see who won. I would watch till the end to see who won, and the rest is history. But he is definitely the guy that started the sport. And to be sitting here today in Saudi Arabia, of all places, and him winning the title here, it's pretty cool.
Thank you for this. Thank you for getting him in the Power Slap, and thank you for tonight.
Thanks for coming.
Дана, приветствую. UFC и так сейчас лига номер один в мире, это очевидно. Но что изменится с приходом Трампа к власти? Это все-таки человек, который очень любит посещать турниры UFC и является твоим близким товарищем. И плюс также, что изменится с твоей новой должностью в группе Мета?
First of all, great to see that UFC is already the #1 promotion in the world, right? But now that Donald Trump is the president, will anything change for the UFC itself? And will anything change now with your new role in the Meta group?
No, I mean, the only thing that really changes is that he is the president again. He's always been a huge UFC fan. You know, and he and I have been really good friends for many years. That's not going to change. And then as far as me being on the board of Meta, yeah, I'm a lot busier. I've been doing work already on the Meta board, but then as soon as I get back is my first live 2-day board meeting. So other than me being busier, one of my really good friends being the president of the United States, and you know, all the other shit that I got to do, nothing's really different.
Ничего не должно измениться, он уже давно фанат UFC, он приходил на события, он будет приходить на события, он остается, был моим лучшим другом, одним из моих лучших друзей, остался моим одним из лучших друзей. А насчет того, что я работаю теперь в Мета, это просто означает, что я намного больше занят, и у меня намного больше занятости, и по прилету домой у меня будет уже одна из первых встреч с людьми в Мета, поэтому все, ничего не изменится, он будет приходить, я просто намного больше занят.
В последнее время появилось очень много новостей о лиге GFL. Она подписала практически всех, кого уволили из UFC, всех ветеранов UFC. Видишь ли ты в них каких-то конкурентов или все-таки это какой-то мыльный пузырь?
There's a lot of news now about the GFL league. Pretty much everybody who's retired from the UFC is now signed by this new GFL league. Do you see them at all as a competitor, or do you think this is just basically smoke, blowing smoke?
No, I don't think it's blowing smoke. I think these guys are blowing real cash. I mean, these guys are throwing a lot of money around, and I love it. Good for the fighters. It's good for them. And I don't know anything about his business plan or what the deal is, but no, I don't consider any combat sports my competition. My competition is the NFL, college football, soccer. Big movies that come out on Saturday. I don't look at other combat sports and look at them as competitors.
Я не думаю, что это мыльный пузырь, мне просто кажется, что он собирается потратить большую-большую кучу денег. Это бойцы, которые профессионалы, которым предложили очень много денег, поэтому, ну и хорошо, я просто не знаю, какой у него бизнес-план, и как он сможет это, как долго он сможет этим заниматься. Вот. А насчет того, что они мои соперники, какие-то конкуренты, ни в коем случае никакая другая лига в этом спорте не является моими конкурентами. Я конкурирую с американским футболом, с баскетболом, с футболом, может быть, даже с фильмами, большими блокбастерами, которые выходят, но ни в коем случае ни с кем в этом спорте.
И последнее от меня. Все фанаты ММА очень долго хотели увидеть Федора Емельяненко в UFC. В итоге этого не получилось, но сейчас у Федора Емельяненко есть самый сильный ученик Вадим Немков, который провел свой последний бой в PFL. Хотел бы Дана подписать его в UFC и, возможно, уже ведут какие-то переговоры.
Long time ago, and for the longest time, people wanted to see Fedor Emelianenko in UFC. And then now he's retired, obviously, but he has Vadim Nemkov, who is one of his star pupils, who has just fought his last fight in PFL. Would you be interested in signing Vadim Nemkov for the UFC?
I don't know. I mean, sitting right here off the top of my head, we haven't talked about it. We haven't talked about it.
Сейчас прям так сказать не могу, мы не говорили еще об этом, просто не говорили.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Поздравляю вот с ивентом, потому что Василий победил, ты болел за него. Вот хочется спросить в первую очередь, о чем пообщались после победы Василия, и есть ли смысл, может быть, провести турнир на родине пельмени в России?
First of all, congratulations. Dumpling won. It seemed as though you were rooting for him. First question I wanted to ask is, you talked a little bit on stage. What was said, if you can? And also, now that he's a champion, would you have any interest in doing a power slap at his motherland in Russia?
Well, like I said to this gentleman over here, Dumpling is the guy who started it all, and he's the guy that definitely got me interested in it. I don't root for anybody. during the fights. Whoever wins, wins. But Dumpling, when I went up there, he said, "Congratulations, Dana White." What did he say? "Your dream has come true," he said, or something like that. Go ahead and tell him what he said, yeah.
Твоя мечта сбылась, я теперь чемпион в твоей лиге, он сказал. Дэйни сказал. А насчет того, что я за него болел, я не болел за него, я всегда обычно соблюдаю нейтралитет, кто лучше, тот пусть победит.
Вот по поводу боя Магомеда Анкалаева против Алекса Перейры, он пройдет как раз вместе с Рамадан. Вот, как долго команда думала над тем, чтобы согласиться, и я думаю, никто из бойцов мусульман не хочет драться в этот месяц. Интересно, почему не стали, так скажем, жалеть Магомеда?
Regarding the fight between Pereira and Ankalaev, that fight is going to be in March, which is going to be during Ramadan. Do you know how long that team took to actually make a decision for him to fight during Ramadan? And it seems as though most Muslim fighters would not take a Ramadan fight. Why didn't the UFC spare Magomed?
The question is, how long did it take? I have no idea. I mean, I don't know. I have no idea how long it took. And what's the other part of the question?
Why didn't you spare a Muslim fighter and made him fight for the belt during Ramadan?
Why didn't I spare him?
As opposed to making him fight not during the holy
Well,
holiday.
listen, if you if you have so many Muslim fighters and none of them will fight, during a block of what happens when they're champions? But we got a schedule. If you want the opportunity, you got to fight.
Очень много есть бойцов-мусульмане. Если они не будут драться вообще в этот святой месяц, то кто-то должен все-таки драться. Поэтому они должны назначать турниры, и если они готовы, они должны с ним биться.
Вот, по поводу Ислама Махачева, он на этой неделе заявил, что если ему предложат, то он готов драться в среднем весе против Дрикуса. Готов ли Дана, может быть, дать ему такой шанс?
Islam Makhachev has stated that if you give him an opportunity, he'll go up to middleweight and fight the champ, Dricus du Plessis. Would you give him that chance to move up and fight that champ?
He would move up to middleweight? Yeah, I don't know about that. Listen, if he wants to move up to 170, we can talk. Moving up to 185 is a whole nother level.
Не знаю насчет этого, потому что, подняться, может быть, в полусредний, это еще можно поговорить, но в средний это уже как-то слишком, нет?
Есть ли какие-то планы на Махачева тогда, на данный момент?
Other plans for you for Islam? You have any plans for him?
When we do, we'll announce it.
Когда будут, мы расскажем.
Thank you.
Dana, over here.
Yes, sir.
First of all, I want to tell you that you are the greatest promoter of all time.
Thank you, sir.
No doubt about it. Congratulations to the show today. I think that was the loudest crowd ever. So what's your plan on Power Slab and UFC for Saudi Arabia? Are you going to see UFC and Power Slab once a year or twice a year? You come here now in 7 months, I guess, twice. So what's your plan?
What is your plan for Power Slap and UFC in Saudi Arabia? You've been here twice in the last 7 months. Will you be coming here twice a year at least?
Yeah, I'm actually meeting with, Sheikh Turgi tomorrow. So we will talk about new plans for Power Slap and UFC and probably a lot of other things. So, yeah, I actually, I like him very much, and I respect him. You guys know me. If I don't like somebody, I'm not shy about talking about it, and I probably wouldn't be here doing all these things. I actually like him a lot. I respect him, and I think we're going to do a lot of stuff together.
So is there any chance we're going to see pay-per-views over here?
Are there any chance we're going to see a pay-per-view here?
Yeah, I mean, anything is possible. Anything is possible.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
And thank you. Hi.
Hello. For many Saudis, this is the first time they see the game Power Slap live. Do you think that such a night would excite them or intrigue them into becoming future slappers?
For many Saudis, this is the first time they see the game of Power Slap live. Do you think that seeing it live will excite them and inspire them to become slappers themselves?
I do, because when you think about even the UFC, so when we first started the UFC, there were only a couple of camps that existed. And as it started to get bigger and better, I mean, look at, there's camps all over the world. There's champions from all over the world. There's contenders from all over the world. And like I was saying earlier, now that there's actually real money involved, the answer is yes. I think he'll. And just so you guys know, I don't hear well. So if you say something and you're like, I said that in English, why is he translating it? Just because I don't hear well. Thank you.
Dana, the Crazy Hawaiian dropping down to heavyweight is pretty big in the power slap world. What are your thoughts on that one?
The Crazy Hawaiian dropping down to heavyweight is pretty big news in the power slap world. What do you think about that?
Yeah, he looked good. I mean, he looked physically in the best shape I've ever seen him in tonight. So I think it's interesting. Yes.
He looked pretty light on his toes. He's looking pretty athletic. What would you do if he said to you, I want a shot in the UFC?
What's that?
He looks pretty light on his toes. What do you think if he would say he wants a shot in the UFC? Would you give it to him?
Ooh, the Crazy Hawaiian? That's like talking about our guys boxing coming over here. I don't know how well the Crazy Hawaiian would do in UFC.
He doesn't have to do well.
He what?
He doesn't have to do well.
I'm good. I'm good with power slap.
Hello, Mr. White. Congrats for the show. UFC having 3 Turkish connection fighters, İbo Aslan, Kaan Ofli, and Volkan Özdemir. Do you any plan bring to UFC Istanbul, Turkey?
There's 3 fighters that have Turkish connections. Do you have any plans to bring the UFC fight to Istanbul, Turkey?
We're going everywhere. The answer is yes. I mean, I met some guys the other day who were pushing hard for me to bring a fight to Georgia. And could it make any more sense than to go to Georgia right now? No, it really does. So the answer to your question is yes. Whenever you find talented people and they start to, we're talking about going to South Africa right now. And, so if we get some guys from Turkey that become, contenders and do well, it makes all the sense in the world to go. Like Spain. I'm trying to go to Spain right now, too. Go ahead.
Hello. You organize events in United Arab Emirates and here Saudi Arabia. Is Europe included in Power Slap's plan in the future?
You organize events here in Saudi Arabia and UAE. What about Europe? Is Power Slap going to Europe in the future?
Yes, sir. Qatar, too. And, we would love to go to Europe. Absolutely. And probably the place that we would go first would be South Africa, too. We would take it down to South Africa.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Дейна.
Yep.
Мухаммад Макаев сегодня присутствовал в качестве болельщика на турнире по пощечинам. Недавно уволенный из UFC Мухаммад Макаев. Виделись ли вы и не исключаешь ли ты возможности, что в будущем Мухаммад все-таки вернется в UFC?
Muhammad Makaev was here. He was here as a fan of Power Slap. Did you have any conversation with him? And do you accept that there's a possibility that he might come back to UFC at some point?
Yeah, no, I didn't see him. I didn't see him or talk to him. Yeah, listen, I thought I made that pretty clear. Sean, Hunter, and Mick did not like working with him, and they did not want to re-sign him. He's a free agent. I mean, he can be a world champion somewhere else, and maybe they'll like him better than Sean, Mick, and Hunter do. Yeah.
Нет, я не видел его, не говорил с ним, но, по-моему, я уже отвечал когда-то на этот вопрос, то, что Шан, Мик, они не любят его, то есть у них не получается с ним работать. Он свободный боец, он может быть чемпионом в какой-то другой лиге, но если бы у них были лучшие отношения, может быть, была возможность, но мне кажется, что нет.
И один вопрос еще от меня. После того, как Арман Сарукян снялся с боя против Ислама Махачева, ты сказал, что он упустил свой шанс, и следующим он не получит титульник. При этом Арман остается главным претендентом на пояс, и как будто бы нету других кандидатов. Значит ли это, что UFC разозлило то, что Арман снялся с поединка, хотя, по сути, да, от этого никто не застрахован?
When Arman wasn't able to fight in LA, you said that he's not going to be the next contender. He's not going to be the one fighting for the belt next. However, he's still in the first position. It seems as though he is a clear contender and there's nobody else who's clearer than him. So can we say that the fact that he wasn't able to fight got you angry or got the UFC upset? Because nobody is protected from that. Anybody could have an injury and fall off the last day. So
I know there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there about this. You'll just have to watch and see how this plays out.
Я знаю, что есть какие-то теории заговора насчет этого всего, но просто нужно подождать и посмотреть, как все пройдет.
Thank you.
Yep. Good. Thanks a lot, you guys. I'll see you tomorrow.
Congratulations on the victory. I feel like the big question is, though, did you know you were going to retire before this?
Yeah, I had a pretty good feeling. Me and my wife had been talking about it, and our match between me and Vern got pushed from December, to come out here to Saudi Arabia. And I figured, it's my first time out of the U.S., so it was a great place to retire at.
Was this one of those things where, you knew you were thinking about doing it, but you could have had your mind swayed based on the performance? Were you in there and thinking like, oh, maybe not? Or do you know, like, no, I was definitely going to do it?
No, I had a speech for win or lose. I mean, this was the match I'd been looking forward to since Road to the Title Season 1. So I finally got to do this match with Vern, and this was it.
Did you slap him out of his shoes?
I don't know. I mean, I took a knee after I had celebrated, and he didn't jump right back up. I took a knee, and I was just worried about him, so I didn't pay attention to all that.
You did something interesting about how you practiced on the height specifically, right? In your mind, as someone who does this professionally, or used to do this professionally, I guess, is the height more important or the initial hand placement? Because I noticed some people put their hand there, some people hold it out there. Which do you think is the most important thing to get right in this?
Honestly, I think both. I think it's best to look over your opponent, how he holds his chin, how he holds his head. If he looks down a little bit, if he looks straight at you. So, I mean, I studied the way Vern did it, and I just had my wife hold the mid up exactly where he would stand. And, I mean, it was a perfect shot. It's something I'd been practicing all along.
And then the last one for me, right? So you're walking away on top. You're walking away undefeated. If there's a guy who's watched you and you've inspired them to take up Power Slap, what would be the advice you'd give them as someone who's got out of here on top? What would you give the advice to the guy who wants to be the next you?
Just training, practicing, and be good at social media, because that's the part I was not very good at. Thank you.
Wolverine, over here. Congratulations on the win and your full career for sure. Today, I think, was the loudest crowd you have ever competed in front. So what is for you as a competition?
Honestly, it was awesome. I mean, to come out there, and I mean, the crowd was all into it. I mean, there was people just hugging the fence line as I was walking to the stage and away from the stage. And, I mean, the crowd made it 100 times better than, the way it's been before. Having that many people screaming, whether they're cheering or booing, I mean, it's an awesome feeling. And, this stadium came alive tonight.
So there is two different ways. When you get slapped and you get slapped. So what is it like when you get slapped in front of a crowd and they're cheering for him?
It makes you want to try more and give it back more. I mean, whenever I get slapped, I mean, Vern hit me with a good shot, and, I could hear the crowd all yelling and excitement and stuff like that. So, I mean, it made me want to return the favor and, try to get the crowd amped up more into it. They had already seen a bunch of good matches before mine. So, I was just trying to keep up with the pace.
Thank you.
Thank you.
congratulations on the victory. We see the emotion on you now. We see the emotion on you in the ring. Talk to us about what it means to actually see a dream through.
Поздравляю тебя с победой. Мы видим, что ты эмоционален сейчас, ты был эмоционален там. Какие ощущения сейчас, когда ты наконец-то получил то, чего так долго хотел?
Спасибо за поздравления. Это был такой долгий путь, и как бы получилась хорошая история.
Thank you for the congratulations. It was a very long way, and it created for a really good history.
Was he the sort of person that you were happy to beat for this title? You know, you guys had an interesting rivalry. You had the first match, the taunting in between each lap. Is he the sort of man that you're happy to have done this with?
Это тот соперник, с которым ты хотел получить этот пояс, потому что у вас было отличное противостояние. Первый матч у вас был ничья, потом после каждого удара вы там чуть-чуть друг друга троллили. Именно этот соперник, это тот, с кем ты хотел бы выиграть пояс?
Ну, у нас получился очень хороший бой, достойный соперник. Ну, был бы другой человек, выиграл бы пояс у другого, без разницы. Как бы.
You know, we ended up having a great fight. He's a very worthy opponent, but if there was somebody else in front of me, another person, another opponent, then I would have gotten his belt.
He actually referred to you as the greatest of all time to have done this. What do you feel about that recognition from a competitor, and do you agree with him?
Он в своем интервью сказал, что ты лучший всех времен, который когда-либо занимался этим видом спорта. Какие ощущения по этому?
Очень приятно, как бы. Но он так-то парень хороший. Как бы, когда мы просто общаемся, он нормально. Просто он хороший актер, любит играть на публику, что поделать. Ну, типа, ему надо пробовать себя в рестлинге, ему там зайдет, как бы. Они там любят кино крутить, как бы. В жизни, мне кажется, он хороший парень, у него семьянин, у него 5 детей. Отец, все, как бы.
It's very nice to hear. I'm honored to hear that. But, you know, there's nothing against him. He's really a good guy in real life. You know, I know that when he's on stage or when we have a match, he's got lots of antics, a lot of theatrics. You know, you should try out at WWE because I think they like that kind of stuff. I think he'll be a big star in WWE. So, but he's a good guy. He's a family man. He's got 5 kids. Like, outside of the match, we actually hang out and we have a good time when we had the chance.
Do you think you'll slap him again before this is all said and done?
Ты еще ему леща будешь давать пока, в следующий раз? Будет такой момент?
Ну, если он станет претендентом, то да, я так понимаю, у меня сейчас другой претендент. Другой вроде как гавайец, ну это так, может там все поменяется. Будем бить гавайцев, что, пока они там не переведутся.
If he becomes a contender again, then sure. But from what I understand, there might be a next contender that's up next. But what are we going to do? Well, we hit another Hawaiian. Maybe we'll just hit all the Hawaiians until they run out of them.
Вась, приветствую тебя. Поздравляю с победой, красавчик. У тебя после боя, ну, ты не смог сдерживать эмоции. Понятное дело, что счастье переполняло. Что у тебя творилось в голове? То есть вот природа этих эмоций, откуда они, почему не смог сдержать слез?
After the fight, you couldn't contain your emotions. I understand that, you know, you were overfilled with emotion. What is the nature of these tears? Can you talk about it?
Ты не знаю, почему счастлив был, как бы так вот. Все наплывало, я приготовил, я, знаете, заранее даже речь готовил. Я хотел сказать, что я видел, что Шарабулит был с Криштиану Роналдо, я тоже хочу видеть с Криштиану Роналдо дубль. Ничего не сказал. Ну, как бы, что вышло, то вышло. Главное, забрал его. Повезем домой.
Just happiness, you know, just overfilled with joy. And I actually prepared a speech. I wasn't even able to say the speech out there. I wanted to say that, you know, Shara was with Cristiano Ronaldo. I want to be with Cristiano Ronaldo as well, but I couldn't even say it. Just, you know, the main thing is I got this thing here, and now I'm going to take it home.
Слышал ли, как тебя поддерживали в зале, в том числе, может, доносили до тебя какие-то крики?
Did you hear the fans shouting? Maybe you could hear, you know, some sort of shouts from the crowd because they were supporting you.
Да, слышал, но поначалу этого Crazy-то лучше приняли. Погромче кричали. Но меня тоже слышал так же самое и на русском пельмени, и на английском дабле. Ну, нормально поддерживали, как бы. Поддержка была. Но он актер хороший, он это своим. Там, магнезию поплевал, зачем, не знаю, для чего. Ну, как бы говорится, пиздеть не мешки ворочать.
Yeah, I could hear it for sure. Yeah, I could hear support for me. But at first, though, when he came out, he definitely got a bigger pump. So it seemed like the crowd was on his side at first. But he is an actor, you know. He was, you know, throwing the chalk around and stuff like that, and you know, getting people into it. I'm telling you, he's got a lot of theatrics. But as they say, you can talk a lot of shit, but that ain't doing work.
И также в ранних прелимах сегодня Денис Вильданов дрался с братом гавайца, упал, к сожалению, в нокаут. И я так понимаю, что гавайец, вот брат, теперь следующий претендент. Будешь ли ты мстить за Дениса?
And a friend of yours, another guy, Dennis Vildanov, who was in the match today. He actually got knocked out, unfortunately, but he was knocked out by the brother of the Crazy Hawaiian, and it seems as though he might now be the next contender. Will you be revenging your friend's loss?
Я уже забыл, что спросил-то. Да, я видел, как бы, да. Да, я видел. Маленько Денису не повезло, попал. Ну, будет не этот гавайец. Вот этот гавайец 5-й в рейтинге, брат его. А там вот сейчас, когда начался основной карт, этот братишка Дэнни бился с гавайцем. Вот этот гавайец, когда 2-й с 3-м бились. Вот вроде как вот так будет. Ну, конечно, если попадется этот гавайский химн, будем его тушить. Но он крепкий парень. Ну, видишь, в этом спорте я уже всем говорю, что важно не как ты бьешь, а как ты держишь удар. Можно бить не очень, но хорошо держать.
Yeah, to be honest, I saw it, and obviously I feel sad for him. I mean, he got caught, he got hit well. So, but I don't think it's the guy that knocked him out, not Crazy's brother, who's the next contender. It's the other guy. When the main card started, the guy, the Hawaiian guy that was fighting against Danny, he's the one I think. But as I said before, in this sport, it's really not the way you hit, it's the way you hold the hit.
Вася, красавчик, поздравляю с победой. Хороший бой. Вот скажи, ты во время, получается, вот, ну, если это можно назвать боем, конечно. Да, во время поединка ты обменивался фразами. Вот. Нам не слышно было.
You guys were taunting each other between the
как, все
between the
слышали, вы не
hits.
слышали?
So,
Во время эфира
can you tell us what you were saying?
в эфире.
We couldn't hear it. Yes, you could.
Стандартные мои матерные фразики были.
Just regular little cursing, no big deal.
Ням-ням было. Ням-ням-ням.
Maybe.
Послал его по-русски подальше.
I told him where to go in Russian.
А после боя?
А после боя, ну, просто там покричали и все так.
And after the fight, we just, yelled a little bit.
Вроде чего.
Я так понимаю, ты поздравил Дану как раз с тем, что ты победил.
Да.
I understand you congratulated
Я
Dana
сказал
with
Дане,
your own
что,
victory.
типа, сбылась твоя мечта, пельмень чемпион твоей лиги.
I told Dana that your dream has come true, the dumpling is the champion of your promotion.
А что еще сказал Дани?
What else?
Да все, спасибо, поблагодарил, все стандартно.
That's it, just said thank you,
Денег
just
не
the standard
просил.
stuff. Didn't ask for money.
Хотел бы, чтобы Power Slap прошел на территории России.
Would you like for the Power
да,
Slap
я
to
всем
have
это
an event in
говорил,
Russia?
кроме его. Я говорю, ну, потому что, ну, с ним не получается так пообщаться, как, например, там, с Фрэнком, либо с другими там работниками Power Slap. А вот я им говорю, давайте сделаем в России, мы соберем олимпийский.
Yeah, I tell everyone. I wasn't able to talk to Dana about it because I don't have that much of a connection. But I spoke to Frank, and I told Frank that let's do it in Russia, and we can, if we do it in Moscow, we can get the entire stadium together.
Василий, поздравляю тебя с победой. Вот Ислам поднял тему матерных слов, которые ты говорил. Вот, по сути, это очень большое достижение, то, что ты сейчас сидишь с титулом, и там по всем российским каналам, наверное, будут показывать, да, то, что у нас из России есть чемпион. А вот, не знаю, сейчас есть какой-то, может быть, стыд небольшой, что, там, не знаю, это взрослый, там, твоя мама, там, не знаю, услышит о том, что ты говорил не самые хорошие слова, и, может быть, если бы мог бы вернуться в прошлое, их бы не говорил.
You were asked about the curse words that might have been exchanged during the rounds or between the rounds, but now this is going to be shown all around the former Soviet countries. Everybody who speaks Russian will obviously understand what you said. Now that you're the champion, most likely people will know more about it. Are you at all embarrassed for saying those words now? And if you could go back in time, would you choose other words to say?
Ну, мне не стыдно. Мама не посмотрит мой бой. Надеюсь, и никто меня не сольет, не покажет. Она, кстати, не знает, что я сюда поехал. Вот так вот, как бы.
No, I'm not embarrassed. My mom is never going to see this fight. Unless somebody will show her that. But no, I'm not embarrassed.
Люди уже понимают уровень гонораров UFC, но не совсем понимают, что значит быть чемпионом Power Slap. Вот сейчас, приедя в Россию, что ты сможешь купить из чемпионского гонорара?
People understand now a little more about the prize money that the UFC fighters get, but not so much about the Power Slap prize money. For you to come back to Russia now, what will you be able to buy?
Не знаю, но квартиру не куплю. Даже в Красноярске, даже в Иланске.
No, not sure, but definitely not enough to buy an apartment. Not in Krasnoyarsk, not in Ilansk.
И заключительно от меня. Можешь пару слов рассказать про своего секунданта сегодняшнего, Сергея, который нам еще тебя переводит? Насколько важные советы давал, и, может быть, помнишь, что говорил?
Сергей? Конечно, важно. Мотиватор очень классно. Он там рассказывал, как там про Московскую консерваторию, как там люди выходили, настраивались на экзамен. Он вообще красавчик. Просто вообще. Он лучше в своем деле. Я не знаю. Это хорошо, это даже хорошо. Так, представляешь, без никого это беда была. Или, например, какую-нибудь тетеньку дали, как в Абу-Даби был. Там, это вообще изначально было без вариантов. А Серега молодец. Сейчас вот главное будет задать, сейчас надо будет попросить, чтобы, может, какого-нибудь тренера мне возили. Пока гонорар не позволяет команду возить. Спонсоров тоже нет, чтобы возили кого-то так вот. Ну, посмотрим. Главное, чтобы Серегу привозили, остальное все. Все?
Over here.
А что, переводить не будешь, что ли? Ну, нормально все было. Что ты уже, пусть американцы послушают, какой ты молодец. Что у тебя ролики на Инстаграм 100 тысяч набирают. Что ты уже?
When your opponent was going into the arena and going to the stage, he was hyping the fans. So was it like in your mind during these moments?
Когда он выходил, ты уже говорил, что он очень много представлений, очень много каких-то финтов делал и так далее, заводил публику. Насколько для тебя это было проблематично видеть, как за него все болеют?
Мне вообще, без разницы. У меня свой настрой. Я вообще на вот этих вот клоунаду не обращаю внимания. Вообще никогда. Вот, типа, вот так вот. Я ему, когда вот эти вот подыгрывал чуть-чуть, там, ням-ням, вот это вот, послал его куда подальше. Ну, это так, на эмоциях, потому что там уже эмоции есть. А это я спокойно вышел. Пусть делает, что хочет, хоть до трусов раздевается.
You know, to be honest, I don't care about it at all. I mean, I don't care about all the theatrics or whatever things that my opponent does. This is not what I concentrate on. I'm set. I'm focused. I have something that they have in mind. And, you know, during the match a little bit, you know, I played with him, did the whole, you know, eating the dumplings thing or you know, cursed a little bit. But other than that, you know, I have a goal. I go to that. And I don't care what they do. He can get naked on stage. I don't care. I'm not focused on that.
In sports like MMA, there is nervous and calmness. And most of them say nervous is good for MMA. But in this competition, is it calm or nervous become good for the athlete?
В ММА есть моменты, когда ты сильно нервничаешь, а потом как бы успокаиваешься. И некоторые говорят, что вот эта вот нервозность, когда ты выходишь, она даже хорошо, она помогает, как бы заряжает тебя. В этом спорте есть такие моменты, и какой ты используешь?
Я ничего такого не использую, но идет как идет. Ну, она периодически так эмоции накатывает. Но когда в основном в одного сидишь, типа накатывает. А с кем-нибудь сидишь, болтаешь нормально. Я в основном типа спокойно все это делаю, как бы. Ну, перед выходом маленечко есть эмоции, как бы до первого удара. И все. А там уже, ну, типа, что какой-то там мандраж, а потом уже все как по накатанному.
Yeah, you know, usually I'm pretty calm, but you know, it's better when somebody's around. If I'm sitting by myself and kind of my own thoughts in the locker room, it's a little nervousness. But if there's somebody there, I can talk to somebody. I usually get those nerves out before I get out there, and then really just once you get on the platform, once you see what you're dealing with, once you see the people, that's when the nerves go away. Until that moment, you're pretty nervous, but after the first slap, you already know what to expect.
Thank you and congratulations.
Вот. Еще вопрос, Вась. С Волковым успел пообщаться? Со своим другом?
Нет, еще не общался. Уже много с кем успел пообщаться, но с Волковым еще не общался, потому что там пипец, там можно телефон выкинуть. На пальцах там, ну там, все, там беда. Там самое главное, это, по ходу дела жена не смотрела, нет сообщения от жены. Я думаю, надо на госуслуги заходить, что ли.
Did you talk to Alexander Volkov, your buddy, your power slap buddy? And no, I did not talk to him. I talked to a lot of people at this point. I mean, you can throw my phone away at this point because so many messages, I'm never going to be able to look through them. But the most important thing is my wife, I don't think, saw the match yet. But no Volkov.
Я так понимаю, Волков, он твой друг, не просто товарищ. И вот я на этой неделе я видел, что ты с Сергеем Павловичем сфотографировался. Не думал о том, чтобы помирить их.
You said, from what I understand, Volkov is a friend of yours. And then this week I saw a photo of you with Sergei Pavlovich. So is there a way that maybe you can mend their friendship?
Ну, с Волковым как-то приятель, друзья, там в интернете общаемся. Ну, в Вегасе хорошо подружились. Сергеем, ну да, подошел, сфотографировался. Я, наоборот, хотел огонька в огонь. Как там? Бензина в огонь подлить, но меня вот правильно вы остановили, не дали это сделать.
А каким образом?
Ну, я хотел сказать, Серег, давай Сане привет запишем, передадим.
With Volkov, I'm actually friendly. You know, when I was in Vegas, we became friends, kind of pals. But with Pavlovich, I basically just stopped by and took a picture. In fact, I wanted to go the opposite way, and I wanted to kind of, you know, add a little fumes to the fire and say, hey, let's record a video for Volkov together. But I was stopped on time. Somebody told me to not do that.
Не, ну так Серега очень классно, мы пообщались, ну классно. Желаю ему победы, чтобы победил. Я думаю, там будет все как обычно, как в обычных его матчах, боях.
But other than that, I think Sergey is great. I think he's a great fighter, and I hope he wins. I'm rooting for him this weekend, and I think it's going to go the same way his matches usually go, his fights usually go.